you do not exist anymore, and you are now, they literally call you a servant to the Lord for a year and a half, and it's just like a very particular lifestyle.
That
And
sounds like you're serving fucking Voldemort.
I was. You nailed it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trip Sitting Podcast, where we explore what it means to be human. I'm your host, Cam Leeds. This week we have Suzy Baker, who is the co-founder of the Psychedelic Assembly in New York City. She curates some really, really dope psychedelic themed events, and she is an amazing human being with a really, really amazing story to tell. And I am so blessed that I was able to have this conversation with her. This episode is sponsored by Conscious Retreats. Conscious Retreats is a platform that helps you find the best center for your plant medicine journey. If you are interested in attending a plant medicine retreat outside of the country, go to Conscious Retreats and they can help you through that process to make sure that you find a good and reputable center. Now, make sure you are following the podcast on whatever platform you are listening to this on. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe give it a rating as well, as that helps us get in front of more viewers. And give us a follow on social media at tripsitting.blog. That's all. Before we get started, here is Suzy Baker. Well, thank you, Suzy, for joining me on Trip Sitting Podcast today. You are currently in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What's up? We're probably at Asheville.
Some work stuff. I'm visiting a friend here, and yeah, Asheville's just generally like a really cool small city that I'm interested in like knowing more about, and yeah, have some like really great people here to visit with too, and then yeah, some like business stuff as well. So yeah, a good like well-rounded trip.
Is there a lot of psychedelic activity going on in Asheville?
Seems like it. I mean, today I was at the Asheville dispensary. Shout out to Jimmy. That's a really great spot. And yeah, and that's like a um it seems like there's like tons of little like smoke shops, and like my friend and I were talking about it, and she's like, my friend who lives here who I'm staying with, she's like, and she also works with me, she's our project manager for Psychedelic Assembly, Alexa, but she's like, yeah, it's kind of awesome to see like, you know, little brick and mortar mom and pop, well, awesome and maybe not awesome for them, but like these little brick and mortar mom and pop like vacuum shops, or just like whatever kind of businesses that are now being turned into like I don't know, just like hippie shit around here. So it's like being this gentrification is not cool, let me just say that, but it is kind of like a funny way that it's happening here or something. It's like but yeah, was at a really great dispensary today, and then just noticed how many little shops like that are around. I think the Asheville dispensary is the best one in town. Not that I've been to like many other ones, but yeah, really cool organization, and really great products there too. They have like a plant elixir bar in house and stuff like that. So yeah, it seems like it. There's really great. I know there's a really great. My friend Annie's an artist here. Amazing. They're an amazing painter, and seems like a really great like art scene as well. So yeah, the Asheville Psychedelic Society is like really bumping here. So definitely, yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. You live full time in New York right now, right?
That's been home base.
Okay.
I have been mostly the last 6 months, though, maybe like 7, 8, has been more on the road. So in July, the Psychedelic Assembly partnered up with Shane Moss, and I joined on his tour, and we created this kind of like cross promotional relationship for affiliate events alongside his tour. So basically, like we'll produce pop up events in select cities that kind of match up with his tour because he's a great platform and voice for psychedelics in general, but he just brings out such an impressive like audience. So he'll be selling out shows in like Wichita, Kansas, which is so weird that like there's like 400 plus people that buy tickets to like a psychedelic comedy show. So
Hmm.
he did a show in New York and at our space and at Psychedelic Assembly in April of last year, so almost a year ago, and it was just like the our visions really align and like just really like synergistic kind of brands there. So we were like, let's like maximize this because long term, like we have a beautiful space, Psychedelic Assembly. We have an amazing space in Manhattan, brick and mortar psychedelic library and social club, and we really want to expand as well. So it's been really interesting to be on the tour, see with Shane, seeing how just seeing like the climate basically of local communities and just folks that are into this stuff because we're like low key scouting for future locations. So yeah, Asheville is like yeah, we're gonna do a pop up event here in the summertime, probably like with the Asheville dispensary. That was like part of the meeting today. But yeah, Asheville would be like a great place. And then I'll be in Austin in March, and then SF in April. So those are also places we'll be doing pop up events, and that seem really great for another location. So
You guys coming back to Denver?
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was in Denver like 4 times last year, which is so crazy. But Denver, of course, like Denver is just yeah.
Yeah, I saw Shane's show for the first time when he was here in Denver last year.
Oh, cool, nice. Did you like it?
Oh yeah, it was so funny. I'm glad I got to see the whole thing because at Wonderlands that was obviously a very like abbreviated version
Yeah,
of what the whole thing is.
yeah.
Not to mention that whole night was kind of a shit show. Uh,
That was wild. Yeah, totally. That was wild. There was a lot happening.
yeah. But yeah, no, I'm glad I got to see him in Denver. That was so like I'm pretty sure that was the night that you and I met because it was right after that when you were in that whole like outdoor garden area
I
that
think
we were just
so.
chatting for whatever. Honestly, I was like kind of high. So I
Probably
don't
same.
I don't fully remember everything we talked about, but I remember having a very long conversation being like, it was
Yeah.
chill
Yeah,
as
no, I
hell.
loved our chat because I remember you mentioning, I feel like our origins are kind of similar because like Kat, my co-founder, and I, we met at a small ayahuasca retreat center in Peru.
Hmm.
We both kind of like studied with a teacher down there, and you worked for right? You were in
Yeah, so
ayahuasca? Yeah.
I went to Peru. Like that was where I did my first retreat with ayahuasca. And now currently I'm working with a couple of retreat centers.
That's right.
Actually not in Peru, but like ones in Costa Rica, Mexico, and Portugal. And just
Okay.
helping them with their like intake process and basically helping people that are interested find their way to the retreat centers.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's such
Um,
like an important piece, I feel like, to the puzzle. It's so funny because like that's how I met Kat originally, is she was like, did your job for this retreat center down in Peru. And I remember like yeah, it's like funny we're like co-founders, business partners now because like I remember back then like yeah, it was also my first ayahuasca retreat and just like emailing her about like I'm freaked out, like please answer
hey,
these
I'm a little
questions.
scared. Is this
Yeah,
okay? Am I gonna die?
yeah.
Yeah,
She's like
it's
maybe, but I hope not.
yeah. Most likely no.
Yeah.
There's whenever I'm talking to people and they'll they'll be like, listen, I'm really nervous, and I pretty much tell them every time, like, if you weren't nervous, I probably wouldn't let you come. Like, there
Yeah.
should be a little degree, especially if it's your first time. Like, there should be a little bit of a degree of like, oh shit, and fear when you're about to like truly dive into your psyche. Like, you have no idea what's about to come, like what's about to
Yeah,
happen. So like, if you
totally.
weren't scared, like, you're kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, no, totally. And I feel like that role, you're almost like this, not like gatekeeper in like the hip way to say it, but you're almost like this
I
like
call it a
gate
guardian.
guardian.
I
You're the
consider
guardian.
myself a
Yeah.
guardian of the space.
Yeah, totally. It's so important to feel comfortable and safe, and like and I mean it's hard to trust people no matter what, but like it is really valuable, I feel like, when you feel that with that initial person you make contact with. It's like, okay, I can now take one step further into the dark because I don't know what's about to happen, but when you have that
Mhm.
kind of like hook with someone that you can kind of trust in the initial, it's a really important part of the whole process.
Yeah. So when did Psychedelic Assembly? When did you guys officially start that?
So let's see, we produced our conference. That was like our inaugural event, which was a really lovely 2-day conference in September of 2022.
Mm.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's funny because I'm staying with Alexa, our project manager, who's also Kat's sister. So it's like it's a very like in the family kind of thing. Yeah. And Alexa and I were just talking about like the origins today. So it's funny you asked that. Yeah. We yeah, Kat ended up leaving that retreat center in Peru during COVID, because basically it all shut down. And
Hmm.
so through working there, she was connected to our now landlord in New York City, Mike Dupler, and he owns a building in Midtown Manhattan, and he had a job opening. He needed basically someone to like run his events calendar because the ground level of the building he owns, and him and his wife live there, um, is 7,000 square feet of like mixed use. Oh, it's an amazing space.
Damn.
Yeah. But it's like an event space, art gallery. Like they rent it out for so many different things, and it's like it's right in between Grand Central Station and the UN. So it's this like really kind of weird but cool location for like an art gallery and a really dope like event center. So he needed someone to manage his events calendar and kind of like a coordinator. So she started working for him. And then I would go out to like visit her because I mean, before that, I was living in Salt Lake City at the time, but
You're still
I
in Utah.
lived, what's that?
You were still in Utah back then.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I would go out and visit her, but I had lived in New York a few times before that. I was a hairdresser for like 13 years, and I did my training in Manhattan. And so I moved to New York City when I was like 18 for the first time. It was really young to move there, but so anyways, like when Kat landed this job, she's like, and she also lives at the building, so she's like, I work at this like weird but awesome place, like come visit. So I would just go out there and like we just hang out and like whoop it up, in New York. And then one of the times I was out there, I think it was like summer of 2022, she's like, "Hey, like I've been thinking of doing this like conference." Because she had been Dennis McKenna is one of her mentors and had been like sort of part of her how she got down to Peru to work for that retreat center. Dennis made that connection
Hmm.
for her. So she's like, I could probably get Dennis to like come speak. And then she also has a really random weird connection. She became friends with William Leonard Picard when he was in prison, and
Damn,
they would
that's so
correspond
cool.
because she and Alexa, her sister, actually they did this they like did a podcast, or somehow they got connected. She specifically was connected to Leonard, and they would just like email and correspond. And then he had just gotten released in 2020, so we're like, wait, we could have Dennis, Leonard, and then Dr. Julie Holland is Mike, our landlord. She is his therapist. and so and and so we're like, and she's in the building a lot and just like a really great ally, and she's just such a badass. And we're like, we could ask them. So we, approached, and they were like, yeah, we'll do a conference. Like, and we had never produced a conference or anything like that. So,
Hmm.
but she kind of presented the whole thing. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so, with an amazing team of volunteers, I mean, it was like a labor of love. A bunch of people came together. We produced this conference. We ended up getting some like really, really amazing speakers and voices in the space. We had Vince Cadlubeck came out, the founder of Meow Wolf, and we had Sutton King speaking there. Like, just really, really amazing folks. It was so inspiring. And it was just like, it was such a special conference because we capped it at 150 people. So, like, it was just very intimate. Like, everyone who spoke was just also able to like you could just talk to everyone the whole time, like we
Uh-huh.
were all in the same space, like,
Hmm.
and because it was all like in the same building too, like physically you're all in there, and there's like this cafe in the center of the building. And I don't know, it was just a really magical weekend. And it went really well. And so after that, our landlord, he's like, like, I do have this like 1,000 square feet of space on that ground level.
Hmm.
He's like, that's not really like being used. Would you guys like, what would you guys ever want to do, like a consistent like brick and mortar kind of thing? Because your conference went really well. And we're like, how would that even look? And then Dr. Julie Holland, she's like, you guys should do a library, because our landlord already has like a pretty legit like book collection. And we're like, and he collects blotter art too, and is just like, he's this old like deadhead. And yeah, so he just has a bunch of cool shit in the building too. So we were like, wait, yeah, maybe. And so we then got sponsored by Synergetic Press and Inner Traditions. They sent us all their titles. We did an Indiegogo campaign, raised $12,000 to like pay the first month's rent. Because we do pay rent. I think some people are like, wait, is it just like a homie? We're like, no, we pay New York City rent every month, which
I was gonna say
I just
$12,000 to pay the first month's rent.
no, that was like just enough. No, that's not how much we pay in rent, but it was like that was just enough to be able to
To just get
to
started,
get in
like
the
get
space,
right
get
off
some
the ground.
furniture, and pay rent, and
Hmm.
then we just had to hustle and like sell memberships, and our grand opening did really well. So then we just kind of, I mean, we're totally self-funded, so we just kind of like through memberships. And I mean, the reason we exist is because of a bunch of like donations from the people, like
Yeah.
we've never gotten a large like donation or large amount of money. It's just like people who believe in the space, who want to be a part of the space, who support the space, which is like,
Hmm.
I just think it's so beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
so we've
so
been open. The library space has now been open. In February was our 1 year
wow.
anniversary. So yeah,
So
yeah.
can members just kind of like hop in when they choose it, like, and just kind of like chill there if they want?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of the idea, is like we're open Monday through Friday. And during the day we function as like a co-working space, and kind of like a reading library. So a lot of our members post up and work from the space. You get free coffee when you're there. And so yeah, like meet up, take meetings, hang out, work. And then at night we're open. So at 7 p.m. we start like our evening programming, which is open to the public. So our members get like discounts to all of our events. There's some like members only events that are free for members, and then yeah, anyone can buy tickets to events. So
Nice. That's really
yeah,
sick. Now, next time, I wish I would have known about that the last time that I was in. I'm trying to think of the last time that I was actually in New York City. I, it's actually been kind of a while. It might have been actually before you guys even officially opened. Uh, but the next time that I go there, I definitely need to check it
yeah,
out. So if a like, can people pay for like a day pass or something and just like
yeah,
drop in for a
totally.
day if they want to?
Hmm. Yeah,
Sick. Hell yeah. And so that's been, I mean, you guys have thrown some like really, really cool events for my scene. Like I've been following you guys on Instagram since before
Oh,
we met at Wonderland. I just had no idea who the people behind it were. Um,
oh, thank you. Yeah,
and
it's been
so
the support has been overwhelming, the like participation and yeah, it's been yeah, we're like super grateful. Yeah.
so I wanna back up a little bit and ask you like how did you even first start getting into the world of psychedelics? And from what I do remember in our conversation, you grew up in Utah, you grew up Mormon, and
Yeah.
somehow now you are the co-founder of a psychedelic space and very involved in the psychedelic world. Some would call that a pretty
Yes.
big transition.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, so and co-founder of My Purple Lady, which I do want to talk about. It's Shane and I's product company, which is really exciting. I really wanted to send you samples before this. But I will. I'll mail you some after this,
Okay.
some, like Blue Lotus and Amanita stuff. But anyways,
Sick.
we can like circle back to that. But yeah, correct. Yeah, I was born in Utah. I grew up mostly in like Alabama though. I left Utah when I was like 4 years old and we kind of moved around a ton. But yeah, raised very Mormon. I'm one of 7 kids. Super religious family, and yeah, I was pretty into it my whole life. I've always been like very like spiritual, whatever that even means, I think I don't know, the best way I can describe it is just like always remembering like kind of as a kid, not just always feeling kind of like connected, I don't know, whatever. And maybe just like liked the idea of God, and I don't know, but
It sounded cool.
yeah, it sounded cool. Exactly, exactly. And and yeah, I don't know, as a teen, because we lived in Alabama, we were in like the heart of the Bible Belt, so it was actually kind of like strange being Mormon in the South, because it's like it's not common, and it doesn't really, because it's like it's like it has a very particular spin on Christianity.
Hmm. It's a really
And
nice way of describing it.
yeah, we'll start off nicely, and then we'll dive in. But yeah, I'm like putting myself in the POV of like being a teenager in Alabama
Yeah.
and like what I thought of it then, I'm like, we're just like another Christian religion, and I kind
Hmm.
of also thought that like I don't know. I thought that like all the religions were kind of like dumb. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
Baptist, like,
Hmm.
why do you think like more like we're all just like whatever, like whatever.
We've all got our
And
own weird little intricacies that don't make any sense at all.
right, right, like that too. I
So
was
like
kind of
yeah,
like,
so like what makes yours make any more sense than mine? And if neither of
exactly.
them make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And Baptists weren't allowed to dance. And I was like, at least with
What?
Mormons, yeah, no, for real. And Mormons, we had once a month church dances where they would like hire a DJ and all the teens would come together and like boogie down. And I'm like, okay, that has to be like a true church. Like
I don't
that
know
has to be
if you're
more
into
real.
EDM at all, but Cascade is Mormon.
He is a Mormon. That's
Hmm.
true. Yeah. Yeah, one of my really good friends did a shoot with him recently. Yeah, he's like active Mormon.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
I know. Blows my mind that anyways, yeah, go off Cascade. Yeah, hope that's working for you. It's working for your music, I guess. So that's cool.
Hey, he's doing something.
Um yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then I wasn't really like that attached to it in any way until I decided to do a Mormon mission.
Mm.
And that was when I was 21. I kind of thought that it would just be this like cool traveling opportunity and just like a way to be of service. I was like going through this very like, I don't want to start my career yet. I really want to like travel and I want to like help people and I want to like, I don't know. And I just thought like, oh,
So
that's a
you had already gone to school in
Mhm.
Manhattan to
I actually went to
to
hair
be a
school. I
hairstylist.
went to
Okay.
cosmetology school in Utah
Okay.
because, yeah, as like a young Mormon girl too, it's just like very much the tradition that you like get married pretty much ASAP. Like you gotta get married
You
quick,
got to start popping them kids out.
Oh yeah, like as soon as possible, please. So yeah, so when I graduated high school, wanted to go to cosmetology school, my parents shipped me out to Utah to do that because they were like, I'm sure they were just like, that's where you're gonna get
That's where you're
married,
gonna find a nice Mormon man.
Yeah, yeah. And I almost did. I was engaged to a guy like at 18 years old. I was like engaged to this like 23 or 24-year-old man. I'm like, that's so weird.
How fast from when you moved back to Utah to when you got engaged? What was that timeline?
Well, I actually met him in Alabama. So he was a Mormon missionary in Alabama when
Okay.
I was in high school. So that's very creepy.
Oh man.
And we met then, but like you're not allowed to date or be like romantic when you're on a Mormon mission. So I knew him, but like whatever. He was just like a missionary. And then I graduated high school. He came back for like he was done with his mission, and he came back for like a trip just to like visit and catch up with people he had met like on his mission. And then yeah, we like reconnected or whatever, and I was like, oh, we were both, yeah, what, I think he was like 23, so I guess it's, but no, I was full on 18, like yeah. But that is not like weird in the Mormon, like to start dating very seriously at 18. It's like, yeah, that's normal. You're done with high
Hmm.
school, like it's time to like get moving. So we started dating. I moved out to Utah. He was in Arizona at the time. I think we did like long distance, like the first while that I was in cosmetology school in Utah. And then I remember when my schooling was like, he had ended up moving up to Utah. We were going to get married and all this stuff. And then I think I was 19 at that time, and it like became very real, like, oh shit, like I if we do this, like I'm gonna start having babies and stuff. And it just like freaked me out, and I just like I couldn't do it and was like,
Hmm.
sorry, bro, like I no, I'm a kid, like I can't have babies. Like yeah. And like that's another part of the religion that just never really resonated with me either, was the baby thing, because I'm like the oldest. I'm the oldest girl in my family. I have two older brothers, two younger brothers, and two younger sisters. But like, I watched my mom like just have babies her whole life, and it just like I don't know, like it just I was like, no, that's boring and like lame. Like I just want to
Hmm.
travel and have fun. Like why would I? No, no, I don't want to do that. So the motherly like instinct or like no, that wasn't there for me, especially. I mean, the older I get, like biology kicks in. But
Hmm.
like at 18, no, 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 no. So I moved to New York City, did an apprenticeship under a really great like salon owner there. And it was when I was in New York that I was like, okay, let me like do this Mormon mission thing. I want to go on an adventure. And so, yeah, so I went to Brazil. And then that's when the religion really got to me, because that's like a year and a half of full time, like, you are talk about like an ego dissolving experience. Like, it's like the military or some shit. Like you do not exist anymore, and you are now. They literally call you a servant to the Lord for a
Hmm.
year and a half, and it's just like a very particular lifestyle.
That
And
sounds like you're serving fucking Voldemort.
I was, you nailed it. I was. And I'm really grateful that I served Voldemort, because I might have always just been like kind of Mormon, just because it's like, oh, it's
Hmm.
my family tradition and it's like not that bad, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have
Yeah.
always kind of. but I had to like go into it. Like I always have to learn lessons like that hard. It's really annoying. I wish I didn't. I wish I could just like take someone else's advice, but I can't.
Hmm.
I have to like go like
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I've always been the same way. Like you could tell
really.
me exactly what the right thing is,
Yes.
but I need to figure it out for myself. Like I'm sorry. Like yes, maybe I believe you, but like but what if?
You're like, yes, you are right, but yeah, I will do that harmful thing. I'm just gonna do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, totally have to do that. So did that with a mission, and then like, I mean, it
How
took me.
soon into that into the mission were you like, "Oh shit, I don't know if this is it anymore."
It was like, well, it was like layers. So, like, I remember getting to Brazil and being like, oh my god, like wait, we're just out here, like, we're a bunch of like white kids out here telling like Brazilians in their language that they need to join like our American church, like, and that we know what's best for them. Like, we would, that's what they literally train you to say in their language,
That's
like you.
colonization at its finest.
Oh, at its most prime, and
Hmm.
I was like, somehow I like missed the message that that's what it was before I went. And so I was like, wait, and they're like, yeah, obviously, like that's what we're out here doing.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh no. And so I made it pretty clear, like, once I got there, I was like, well, I'm not doing that. Like, y'all can do that, but like, I'm kind of here to just like, talk about like the love of Christ, and to talk about like if someone wants to join the Mormon church, like, I can facilitate that and help them do that. But like, I am not here to like make anyone do anything they don't want to do. And like
Hmm.
the other missionaries were like, okay, whatever. Like, like it
Were you
wasn't
did you
a
guys all
problem.
live near each other? Like all of the missionaries that were in Brazil, did you guys have like a home base that you're all at, or like how does that work?
So the church owns like so much like real estate. I mean, worldwide. It's actually kind of wild. The Mormon church is worth $4 billion. Like, I mean, they have
Yeah.
so many crazy investments. And so basically how it looks is like, so like for example, my mission, I was in the Rio mission. There's a president, and it's like a guy who's like retired from his normal job in real life, and him and his family get called to like be the overseers of like 150 200 missionaries in a location. So in my location it's Rio, and then the church owns multiple apartments in just like the whole state of Rio. And then you like live with your person. It depended on the apartment. Like sometimes we lived with other female missionaries, and then sometimes it was just like me and my companion. So you're always like walking in twos. You always have like
Hmm.
a companion. It's so gay. It's amazing. But and yeah. And sometimes you're in threesomes. They literally call it a threesome. That's when like they just have an extra odd missionary, so then it's three. Um,
Uh-huh.
so funny. It's Have you
Oh
seen Book of
man.
Mormon, the play?
I was literally just about to say this literally sounds like everything in Book of Mormon is just so accurate.
Because it's like so like it's so just like naively, it's like, oh my god, like y'all don't get like what, and we don't, you don't get it. You're just like,
Yeah.
we're out here for Jesus, woo. Like, it's pretty comical. It's fun to be able to like zoom out of that and
Uh-huh.
see it in a funny way, but yeah, that shit is so wild.
Hmm. So you did you complete the whole mission?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yep, I finished it, which is like so weird because in like Mormon culture, like if you get sent home or you like don't finish honorably, it's like this horrible shame. So like it's actually like a unnecessarily like common question that people have, like, so did you finish your whole mission? kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it's this like, I don't know. And like, if you haven't, it's this like, I don't know. There's like all of this weird shame and guilt wrapped around it. So,
Hmm.
yes, I
It's
did feel
like
sorry.
getting dishonorably discharged from the
It
military.
is. It is. And they literally call it a dishonorable release from the mission. I
It's like
know.
they just took it from the military and just.
No, they did. No, the Mormons and the military, there's something serious like alliance going there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So once you got back, did you go straight back to Utah?
I actually went, my parents were in Alabama still.
Okay.
So I went back to Alabama for like a few months and then I moved to, I like could not get away from the Mecca. The
Hmm.
motherland was calling me and I had to go back to Utah. Yeah. I lasted like 2 or 3 months in Alabama and I was like, I need Mormons. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And then also it's like the pressure is on, like to get married. And at that point I had like drank the Kool-Aid so hard that I was like, yep, that is my number one purpose is to like marry. And so I was like, oh, of course I'll like, yeah, find a husband in Utah. And so,
Hmm.
yeah. So I went out there. I went out there and then I would say another kind of like going into the, into the fire or something. I'm really glad I moved out there at that point because I was really unhappy living there. And I just like, I don't know. I just like still had this like, oh, I want to adventure. I want to travel. I want to like, and I didn't like get that. And I was starting to question the religion at that point. I remember just like, wait, this isn't adding up. Like,
Hmm.
all this isn't adding up. Like, I did all this work. I'm not happy. Like, they promise that you'll be happy, and you're like, I'm not. I don't even
Hmm.
feel like myself. Like, I was going through it big time. And so, my brother, one of my brothers, my oldest brother, at the time was living in Hong Kong. Him and his wife, he like got a job with, he's like a business person. But anyways, he was like working there. They were very Mormon at the time. Not anymore, but at the time they were, and they're like, come stay with us. Like they didn't have kids or anything at the time. And I was like, okay, fuck it. So I like bought a one-way ticket to Hong Kong, like lived there for like
Sick.
5 months. It was so good. And then I taught English there and like, or yeah, taught English in mainland. And then I would travel to Thailand while I was there. Like it's just super easy to get around Southeast Asia. So that really like lit the traveling bug. And then when I was there, I was like, okay, there's no way Mormonism is true. Like
Hmm.
really, like this like small fucking weird white church is gonna say that like they're the ones that like no. Like there's no way, it's like I was just like, no. And so it started, yeah. And then I also, this is like TMI maybe, but also in the Mormon church, you wear magic underwear. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I
Yes.
have not heard about the magic underwear.
Really? I feel like
No.
that's like a thing that everyone knows and clowns on. Oh,
That
yeah.
might have been like somebody might have told me that one time and I might have just been like, that's so funny. There's no way that's true.
Oh, it's real. Hmm. It's real. In Mormonism, they call them the garments, and they're like very like sacred. Apparently, it's your like protection. You like wear these to like, and there's like symbols that represent like the sword of Christ and like your. It's
Oh,
really
that's
intense, and it's
culty.
it's very, very much like tied into the occult because like Joseph Smith was a Freemason. Like he was really
Hmm.
into these like Masonic rituals and he pulled from all of that shit. So, it's like these like ancient kind of like symbols and stories that men have passed down and told each other. And they're kind of interesting, but
So
that's
is it
all
like
that is.
chastity underwear or like what's
Yeah,
what's what's
kind
the
of. It
deal?
represents like protection, and then it also represents like, yeah, if you're like stepping outside the lines of chastity, then
Hmm.
you like it's just one more step. I also just think they like make it really hard to want to like have sex when you feel disgusting wearing these like
Yeah.
horribly ugly things.
Just made to just pass down shame and guilt for having to look at them if you're going to go
Totally.
that far.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, how do we protect our members from other people? Oh, make them wear ugly ass underwear.
Hmm.
So, anyways, I bring up the like magic underwear because like in the ex-Mormon world, like we always talk about like when you stopped wearing garments, because that's like a big rebellion, is like when you like,
Yeah.
fuck this, I'm not wearing those anymore, you know? And that was in Hong Kong for me. I was like, and like it's just a weird thing in the religion because people will like notice that you're not wearing them because they're also
Hmm.
like, it's like a shirt kind of thing. So like you can't wear tank tops.
Oh
Oh yeah.
shit.
And then the bottoms are like, they like go to your knee. So like you can't wear short shorts. Like it's also like a
Hmm.
modesty thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so in Hong Kong, I like stopped wearing. And I remember at the time, my brother and sister in law, they're like you're not wearing garments. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it's like so hot here and stuff. And like it's so weird that you have to like, you know, make shit up. And then after that, I ended up living in Portugal. I did Hong Kong for like 5 months. Then I lived in Portugal for 6 months with a French family there. I was like this like language liaison for them. It was a really amazing job. And then yeah, and then I just kind of from there I just kept kind of pulling out a little further. And then it was weird. I kind of like when I got back from my travels, must have been like 25 at the time. I kind of like got back into the Mormonism. I think I was like, well, I had my fun like
Hmm.
traveling internationally, but you know what? I'm going to like respect my family tradition and like I've put so much like into this and my mission, like I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make it work for me, but like yes, I am going to like do this religion. And then I was with a guy who basically showed me, opened my eyes to like, you know, the other view of things, and it, as far anyways, he got baptized for me as a crazy thing, but because I was like, yeah, I know, it's insane. And then and then once he was in it, he was like, wait, like he didn't realize the extent of the Mormon rituals, the
Uh-huh.
sexism, all of it. And he really, and I like respected and loved this person, and he really like helped me understand it. I'm like so grateful to him,
Hmm.
you know, but he like helped me understand what was really going on. And then from there, it was like, no, there was no like turning back. And my
There's
brain
no
was
going
probably,
back.
I was like 25, 26. So my brain finally got like developed fully. And I was just like, oh no, no.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then that was like 25, 26. And then I started, my youngest brother like introduced me to psychedelics when I was like, man, this is all in the past like 6, 7, 7, 8 years or so. But
Hmm.
he was like, you should really like try acid. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
You're like, wait a second. I love this.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I also like, my brother was like out of control when he was a teen. That brother that introduced me to
Hmm.
this, and he ate like 3 tabs of acid with his friends in our basement, and ended up throwing a can of fruit cocktail through my dad's like plasma TV in our basement.
Ah, no, not in
And
the
then he like
basement.
bad trip, you know, and
Yeah,
like a teenager,
that's
like
not the place to do that.
not the place to do that. And like it was like 16, you know, just like,
Yeah,
so I had this idea in my head too that like, no,
of
like
what's gonna happen if you do
of what's
that.
going to happen. But he was really great. Like he was older at this time, and we were
Hmm.
both living in Utah at the time. And I had gotten really into like nature and rock climbing and hiking. And so he's like, just like take
That's
some
the
acid
place
and
to
go on
do
a
it.
hike. Yeah. And so I did, and I'm like, oh, this shit is amazing. And then mushrooms, and then so yeah, it was a
Hmm.
really like soft, amazing introduction to psychedelics, and definitely not like a healing approach. You know, I wasn't like
Yeah.
thinking about it in that context. I was just more like, this is so cool. I can feel connected to God without my religion. Like it was just such a gift, you know? Like I felt, I don't know, it was like such a total gift of like, and like support of leaving Mormonism. And then there was still so much residual kind of trauma from the Mormonism. This is 2019 that I was like, I have to do something intense. And
Hmm.
then my friend like mentioned ayahuasca, And I remember when he said the word, I was just like, it was this full, like, and I'd never even like
Hmm.
heard of it. I didn't know what it was. It was just this like, oh my God, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like this full body, like, you will be doing that. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, then like 6 months later, I was in Peru, and that's where I met Kat. And that's where I ended up getting really close to the woman who the medicine woman there at the retreat center, and I ended up like living with her for a little bit after and studying with her. That's how like Kat and I became really close. And then from there I got really into like studying plant medicine. I studied with a woman here, and I just got really, or like in the States, and I
Yeah.
just got really, really into it. So yeah, yeah.
And now you are launching My Purple Lady.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So My Purple Lady, we actually launched a few months, well, like soft launch, a few months ago. But yeah, our online store will be up March 14th, actually. So definitely check us out. And yes, My Purple Lady is a brand that I co-founded with Shane. It happened super organically. We were selling other people's Blue Lotus and Amanita products,
Hmm.
and just like doing really well selling them. And so we were like, wait, maybe we should just like start our own, you know?
Hmm.
And so we did. We found these really great manufacturers in LA, and we started like, they were really generous, and we like R&D'd a bunch of products, tested them out at his shows. We loved them. The audiences loved them. And we also feel like, I don't know, there's something really special about the Blue Lotus, particularly. It's just a beautiful heart opener and is a great facilitator for like social environments.
I
So,
was gonna say, what does testing them out at his shows mean? Does that mean that you're drugging the audience before he goes on?
yes,
That's awesome.
exactly. Yes.
um, that's really cool. How did you guys get to the name My Purple Lady? I'm really curious.
So the name comes from, it's actually per my suggestion. Shane Shane has had, I don't know, he hasn't seen her in a while, but he got like really obsessed with DMT. You can learn all about it on YouTube. He talks endlessly about it. But
I'm pretty sure we talked about that at
oh, did we?
Wonderland. I'm pretty sure.
Probably. Yeah, 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 I'm sure. Yeah. But he so over the span of 10 years, he was smoking quite a bit of DMT. He goes really obsessed, really fascinated from more of like a neuroscientific approach to all of it.
Hmm.
Shane's like way less woo about all of it. But he was just fully obsessed with DMT. And a lot of the times when he would get into that space, he would meet up with this purple woman, and they had this like really had have I don't know, but this really like profound, deep connection and like love, like deep, deep love that would manifest sometimes in like a familial love, but then also in like a romantic love, but then also this like playful friend. Like it was just embodied like so many different like forms of relationship. And I mean, he now, like, his take on it is that, she is like just, an archetype, a female archetype that would, and a lot of people have seen the purple woman in DMT space. It's not just him. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I just love that. And I don't know, when we were talking about this, there was just something like very feminine about the Blue Lotus. And there's just, I mean, I love being a woman, and also like there's so many like nuances about being a female in this reality.
Hmm.
And I think it's interesting, and I was just like, dude, let's call it let's call it My Purple Lady, because the brand really represents like this female archetype that maybe doesn't like fit in the confines of like society or this reality as much, but like we're kind of like making a place for that or something. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
That's sick. I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
being a woman sounds crazy. I wouldn't know, but one day, maybe one of my past lives,
Probably
or one of my future lives too.
one of your future lives. Yeah.
I
I
can't
mean,
wait.
like being a dude too, like it's all weird. It's like we just know what we know. So for me, it's like that's just so what I'm acutely like aware of is that experience, and like that's my POV, and that's like, it's just like sensing how people perceive me, and like, just all of that wrapped up in like a female form is just kind
Hmm.
of weird and cool, but like, yeah, it's a whole thing, in the same way
Yeah.
that like I'm sure being a dude is in its own particular ways.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're all just, I don't know. I think we're all just the universe experiencing itself at the end of the day, and we all have like our own thoughts and things that we do and the way that we perceive the world. Like, I mean, it's wild. There's 8 something billion of us, and we all get to have our own unique experience. Like, how
Right.
wild is that? How
Yeah.
trippy is that?
It's cool. It's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and also with like the My Purple Lady brand, I'm like, girls are sexy, like women are cool and like vibey and hot, and like, let's call it the My Purple. Even just from like a
Hmm.
very shallow like
Yeah.
visual, I'm like, dude, enough with your like masculine. Like, you'll have your comedy show, you'll always have that. Let's make the brand a little more feminine,
Uh
like
huh.
a little more sparkly. And he's like, yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would want to share before we wrap up here?
I don't think so. We covered so much. That was fun. Yeah, I don't think so.
I had a blast. Thank you everybody for listening, for making it all the way to the end. You did it. You accomplished this. If you did nothing else today, this is one thing you did. You helped yourself by listening to this podcast, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I love you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Until next time.